Eh, 7 p.m.
Yeah.
7:30.
How do we end this?
Bye.
We just leave? Macam mana nak end?
He is a game changer. He's got one of the best Yorkers in world cricket. Great slow ball. He bowls a couple. He bowls one out of the front of the hand and also one out of the back of the hand. But I love his aggression. I love his control.
Can he carry on and lead this team to the finals? It should have been taken. Here we are then in incredible India. Expect a battle royale.
Indian Premier League 2017 only on Astro Cricket. Subscribe via channel 200.
Albert.
How can something travel to nothing?
Rebellion will get you nowhere.
Monogamy is not natural.
How could you be so careless with my heart?
The past, present, and future is but an illusion.
Genius, a global event series, Sunday nights at 10, exclusively on National Geographic.
The world's best 8 of the top 10 women's world rankings are here. Southeast Michigan has thrown open its gates to the LPGA Tour since 2000. You can go back all the way 60 years.
Charlie Hall for her part, 15, snuck it in the right corner.
From Ann Arbor, Michigan, it's coverage of the LPGA Baltic Championship
On Golf Channel. With every pass and every kick.
It's attacking football.
To players' fitness and managers' pick.
You got Rooney at the weekend.
From cheering fans to referees.
So diving's acceptable if you've been fouled.
We'll uncover football's greatest mysteries.
Should City sell Yaya? Is this signing going to be good enough? Oh, Manchester United, a club truly in crisis.
So join us, the best pundits in town, every Friday, 9 p.m. on Football Countdown on Astro's SuperSport 3 and HD.
This programme is brought to you by Wonder Coffee. Tastes like just brewed.
We are live on Astro SuperSport. We are live on YouTube. You can stream us, by the way, on our YouTube channel, as well as that device over there. It's a brand new 360 camera, which you can get a 360 view of the entire studio as well. Joined in the studio by Mr. Gary Stevens, Steve McMahon, and then one and only Stanley Bernard, StevenSamuel@gmail.com. That truly is his Gmail address. Best of luck trying to spell. Remember, this show is all about you. We have no rundown whatsoever. A rundown is something that tells me what's coming up on the show. Today, you get to play producer. All the questions will be live, taken from our Facebook page, our Twitter account, Instagram account. So hopefully you send nice questions. Do not swear. You will be put on the ban list. First and foremost, let's talk about a certain Zlatan Ibrahimovic. And the question is from Uncle Thana, who goes, why are strikers paid bonuses when they are paid to score? To just have a look at how much Zlatan made from scoring goals. This was in a contract. By the way, let me tell you that this is from a certain thing called Footy Leaks. It's neither been confirmed nor denied, but this is the breakdown per goal ratio. Now, add to the fact that he scored free kicks and penalties as well, and he was the first choice. Did he make himself the first choice, Steve?
Well, first of all, we don't know whether it's true. You say you've got to point that thing out, because me personally, as an ex-player and manager, I would say it's ridiculous that you even put this into the bonus situation. As a team, yes. Individually, no. Because goalkeepers, are they getting clean sheet bonuses? Because if he's not, well, he should do. If they're not, but what I'm saying, I wouldn't even allow that, because that's what they paid for. You pay your wages, you come in, you pay extortionate amounts of money per month, per week. That's your job, to score goals, because you're specialist. That's why you're on more than anybody else in the team. That's why we give you 200 grand or 300 grand a week. So that's your job, is to score goals, as it is to manage, as it is to be a midfield player, and so on and so forth. So these figures are baffling, and it begs the question why you're taking penalties and free kicks all the time.
The biggest factor here is that, imagine, I mean, now we're talking about someone who's scored 28 goals, and now he's gone injured. So it doesn't look as bad. It's already bad enough, but doesn't look as bad. Imagine if he only scored 5 goals and he actually get a payout. Yeah. I do know, I think you do know as well, strikers and goalkeepers who have this contract in their contracts. For me, the fact that it's activated immediately after he scores 1 or 2 goals is absolutely wrong and embarrassing.
Did you have anything similar?
Yeah, I had something similar, but it only activates after 20 goals. So no matter what the amount you put there, after the 20-goal mark, then the club is benefiting. Because I think if you got 20-goal striker in any part of the world, if you got 1 and then you got 2, that means you're winning games if you're scoring that much of goals.
Well, I think there is some value in having incentives in a contract, but I think the danger comes when that incentive negatively impacts on the team. I can give you an example. At one of the clubs I was at abroad, and I've worked in a number of countries, we had a striker who, within his contract, if he scored a goal, it pretty much doubled his basic salary. Wow. So the first penalty we get, he's on
rushing to it. Yeah.
OK, so he wanted all the penalties, he wanted to take all the free kicks that are in striking distance, and here's where the danger comes in. When he misses a penalty, OK, he wants to take the next one. And some of the team are saying, well, hang on, you've just missed. We need to score. We don't now have confidence in you scoring. Yeah. Somebody else wants to take it. And he wouldn't let anybody else take it.
It's a negative impact, isn't it?
So suddenly there was animosity in the team. And I don't care what anybody says. If the team is divided, they will not be so successful. So it's fine all the time Ibrahimovic is scoring the penalties, if he's on them. But if he misses one and they want to change the penalty taker, where do you go when he says, no, I'm still taking it?
Well, that's what I'm saying, baffled. He shouldn't be allowed. I mean, it's simple. You rushing and fighting each other for penalties. If Wayne Rooney's in the side, is he on goal bonuses as well? There might be 3 or 4 on a goal bonus, so they'd be scrapping each other. You'd be fighting each other if you're getting 5 and 6 penalties a year, which got you another £300,000.
But do you know what I think is even more concerning? The fact that these figures are out. Now, we don't know if they are fact or fiction, fabrication or not, but, you know, figures do get out. And I think that's totally inappropriate.
Yeah, but just put into perspective the fact that you've been around this part of the world, coaching as a manager, you as well have experience. See, most clubs cannot, most times, come to a point where they maybe just cut short a little bit of what you want. So your agent is dealing for you.
In terms of financial...
Or the player himself. In terms of financial, okay, just say you've asked for 20,000 US a month and they say, you know what, we're going to come up with only 17,000 US a month. So the club owner or the director or the treasurer speaks to you and say, look, we can't reach that amount, but let's get into a win-win situation. Okay. I'll put in a goal bonus for you, all right? You hit 20-goal mark, you get the amount that you want, which we can't pay at the start of the season or monthly, but at the end of the season, because if you do score that amount of goals, we believe that we'll be in top 3, top 5. And the reason is, the money that is here in comparison to what Zlatan is understandable.
So what if the club say they're giving you X amount per goal, 2,000 US, whatever per goal, so it totals up
I think it's wrong. I think per goal is wrong. That's what I'm saying.
This is where fundamentally, especially in this country, you're open to bribes. You're on 19 goals. It's in your hands. You get a penalty. The guy comes to you, whoever's saying, you've got to miss this penalty. I know you're going to get 40,000 for scoring your 20th goal.
Why would that be out in the open anyway?
Because you're
he's not saying out in the open, he's giving a hypothetical situation.
Hypothetical. If someone knows you're on a goal bonus, which everyone does now, I'd be a first interview after 18 or 19 goals, I'd say, the next time you get a penalty...
But I don't get it. Why would it be out there?
You just said you get it after 20.
Yeah, but why would it be out there? This is behind closed doors, so why would someone...
Because it is, if you tell someone, it's open...
This is Zlatan
but we've also had the situation where a player goes to a club and he will get an additional payment after he's made 40 appearances across 2 years. Yeah. And the club go, actually, we don't want to kick in that initial... He's played 38 times for us. We're not going to play him anymore.
It's happened.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It has, and it does happen.
The chairman has come to me after 25... Steve Davis, the guy who was a Blackpool. And he says he's on 24 games, and I was due to play him on a Saturday.
Yeah.
Chairman says to me, you can't play him because we haven't got the money to pay the club. After 25 appearances, we have to play Burnley, I think it was. We have to pay them another £25,000.
Fundamentally, if the club keeps to their word, it is good for the player.
How?
And the
When
club.
he'd leave you out. If you were on 18 goals and you had to score 20, I'd leave you out.
Listen, if a striker goes on and scores 20 and you pay him, he stays there next season and he would do it again. Yeah. And if a player is being paid, if he X number of experience, just say he appears above 30 games, and they are obliged to their contract and they pay him out, whatever the bonuses is, it's good for the club. The problem is at the moment, the clubs are the problem at the moment, what you're saying, because they are not actually abiding whatever they're saying in the contract.
They just leave you out. They just leave you out, Stanley.
That's the club's problem, isn't
if you're based on
They've said
appearances
something
as well,
and they've gone against it, right?
They just leave you out. They just say there's no money here, so I'm leaving you out.
Do they deserve to get a bonus when they score goals, when they're a striker? Do they need that extra money? If you're playing in Europe, not here in Malaysia or anywhere local, yes or no? That's a camera that just fell down, by the way. Live TV, the benefit of live TV. So yes or no?
I don't think you should deserve per goal bonus.
Yeah.
I think it's okay if a club puts in and say, 20, 25 goals, you hit that mark,
it's a team
you deserve it. That's fine.
The striker's not going to score 20 goals unless the midfield and wide players provide him with opportunities.
And you're not going to win the league if the goalkeeper is not keeping 15 clean sheets.
And he deserves a goal sheet bonus.
No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't. The goalkeeper doesn't deserve a clean sheet bonus, and the striker doesn't deserve a goal scoring bonus. What the team do is when they win something, they all deserve a bonus. Every man jack deserves a bonus. Because it's a team game.
But in this part of the world, the biggest problem is when it's only in verbal. Most of the time,
well, there lies the problem, so you should have it.
So that's why players do put it in black and white to save and protect themselves.
Black and white's no different. It's not where the paper it's written on. Because
breaches of contract.
Yes.
Yeah. I think, Stan, what they're trying to say is, and my question was, should strikers get a bonus for scoring goals? A simple yes or no. No?
No, in my opinion.
No.
OK, that's it. We've been blaming players. We've been playing team managers. How about the football agent? And that's the next question. Should this whole player being represented by an agent era be abolished? Now, we're talking about the big ones, Jorge Mendes, the amount of money he makes, Paul Pogba, the amount of money his agent apparently made with the sale. Stan, it's ridiculous, the numbers, the money these agents make.
Absolutely. I think it's crazy, the fact that I heard Jorge Mendes made $1 billion worth of transaction last season overall as a player agent. Just for the fact that he's protecting the players, safeguarding their contracts, dealing new clubs for them. The amount they take home is absolutely ridiculous.
For me, we have to go back to why agents came into it to start with. And agents came into it because players or clubs took liberties with players.
Yeah.
There's no two ways about it. They took liberties. Rarely in my playing days was I able to dictate terms. I was offered and I either accepted it or I was out the door, basically. So I think agents needed to come in to strengthen up the position of players. For me, it's now gone far too far, and the most important aspect is that the vast sums of money that agents are taking out of the game, and I don't mind them taking a certain amount, getting paid a decent amount, but when they get paid an obscene amount, for me that is financial sums that could be so better used elsewhere, either within the club, the youth structure, or the wider football world.
And Gary, no, wait, hold on. Gary, how much did you, I mean, if you don't mind me asking, how much did an agent back in your day get if he represented you, for example? Well, percentage of the deal.
Well, I can tell you that the only time I ever had anybody to represent me in a contract negotiation was the last ever professional contract I signed. I left Spurs and I went to Portsmouth, and my accountant represented me, and he charged me an hourly rate.
See, that's exactly where we're coming to, where it shouldn't be an agent, it should be an accountant, lawyer, it should be your representative that follows you and looks after your financial affairs. Yeah. And God knows why clubs don't have this financial guy that looks after individual players at that particular club. Because I think it's around about 15–20% negotiable for an agent if he does a deal.
Yeah, but
10 to 15%. That's the rules right now.
Yeah, but who's paying that? Because again, when agents first came in, an agent would charge a player 10% or 15% of what he's managed to earn him. But now an agent is saying, I want a cut of the transfer fee, I want a cut of your salary.
Indirectly, it's got to be the player, because if
Well, the agent should be representing the player, shouldn't he? So therefore, the player should have to pay the agent.
Because, see, this is where it's wrong, because agents we put young players, there's Dele Allis of this world, and Rodwells, Jack Rodwells, and Barclays. So you've got an agent, and not a representative, not a lawyer, not a family member, not an accountant, an agent. You've got Manchester City involved, and you've got Tottenham, where Barkley might go to.
Yeah.
An agent's going to say, there's another 10 or 20 million pound for me if you go to Manchester City, because they're going to pay me. They're going to pay me more money as an agent's fee if Barkley goes to Manchester City and he doesn't go to Tottenham. And that's a fact. So he's forcing Barkley to go to Manchester City, not Tottenham, because he earns more money. Not because the good of Barkley and his footballing, it's because of the power of money.
It's not necessarily the better club for him and where he will develop further as a player. It's where the agent gets
the problem right now here is... We know in global, here globally, all right, footballers globally. I'm talking about footballers. Some of them perhaps don't have education to even read and write. I know players that have gone into meeting rooms who can't even know what is in the contract, written in the contract. They need representative, and that's where agents are really smart. This is exactly what Micah is saying, because you get players who are 18 and 19 years old. For them, that money they're getting, especially at that level, or even over here, when it's a top club, it's huge. So for them, they're not really bothered. They're not seeing 2 years from now, 3 years from now. They're seeing tomorrow, what am I going to be taking home monthly? But the agent is seeing further. If I go to this club, I'm going to get more money, because the education of the players is not strong.
What happens now, Stanley, and it's been happening for quite a while, if you're going to a club in the UK, any club, Man United, Zlatan moving to Manchester United, you don't need the agent, because you ring up the PFA. You ask the PFA, what is your top earner at Manchester United, and he says £200,000 a week. He doesn't tell you who it is, but he can tell you that's the top earner.
And this information is able...
For everyone. Okay. If I'm a player and I'm moving to Tottenham or to Liverpool, I can ring up the PFA and say, listen, I'm moving to Liverpool. What is the top earner on? No names. He'll say this. What is a player on that's played so many games? He'd say this. He'd give you an amount and a guideline.
So you've got a framework, haven't you?
Exactly. So you have a guideline as to what your box is. Zlatan's box is he wants to be the top earner, correct?
Yeah.
So he'll go in there and he'll say, well, I know the top earner is on 200 grand. So my negotiations start at 200,000. If I'm a young player and I'm looking to go to Liverpool and I'm looking at what, I don't know, where a young player's on at that age, 23-year-old Steven Gerrard is on 50 grand, then I've got to be looking at 50 grand.
Yeah,
so that's your guideline. The PFA are there to help you 100%.
That's an example of perhaps the best PFA in the world, I would say, the English PFA. But not many countries actually have that.
Yeah, so my question is, I mean, we can talk about...
It's vague. You wouldn't know how much someone's on in a club.
Stan, we can talk about the Premier League, but I think since you've been here, you played here, Indonesia, India as well. How much of a role does an agent play? We saw what happened with Nazmi Faiz. Let's be honest, it didn't turn out all that well.
Huge. Firstly, you need an agent, but you need to trust the agent. There's a lot of mafia agents around India, Indonesia, in Malaysia. And the biggest culprit behind all of this is FIFA, when they actually abolished the rule that you don't need a license to be an agent. I don't get it.
Well, they brought the rules in, and it didn't particularly work.
But I think now it's backfiring even worse, because now anyone can be an agent. As long as I've got contact with a club, Gary, you're a good player, I can contact you. You know what? I'm in contact with the director of the club. I can get you in this club, but I need to represent you. Or do you have a license? No, I don't, but I don't have to because FIFA says I don't have to. And you just got to trust this guy.
Are you 100% on that? Because I'm not 100%. I think you still have to be affiliated
I don't think so anymore. But and that's why you get players' fathers representing them as an agent these days. You get Neymar's. Is his father a licensed agent? Yeah, he's not a licensed agent. And the father dealt his contract.
Agent will promise his father because his father is the one that will convince Neymar to go to the club. So you've got to convince the father by giving him an envelope of some sort, or putting him on a wage structure, or buying him a house, which is it's all legal. You can buy parents' houses now, and that softens the...
Ferguson said Pogba's parents, flowers...
Whatever.
But just going back to this part of the world, you get a lot of clubs who perhaps start in the early season with a lot of funds. And mid-season, you get the same owners who promise so much, pull out their funds. So that's where I think the agent becomes really crucial, because by the end of the season, you want to get the money you need. Gary's been in the same situation in Thailand. I mean, when you need someone to really represent you in clubs around this, especially this part of the world, because you really don't know how the clubs are being run financially. Like you just said off screen, the fact that you don't really know how much your players are on as well. So imagine a player came up to you and said, just say I was playing for under you and I say, you know what, I was promised this amount, I'm not being paid. Until I tell you, you wouldn't even know that I was on that kind of money.
No, but as the head coach of a club in Thailand, I didn't need to know what anybody was earning.
But in Malaysia, they do.
Why? Why does the head coach
because
need to know?
Because at the start of the season, the manager makes sure, or coach this part, make sure there is no wrongdoing. Because sometimes you can get a player who's 22 years old, just because he's come up from the national setup, who's not as good as a player who's played for the club last season, but because he's played for the national setup underage group, he demands a salary which is higher. And a club director could sign him for 30,000 ringgit, for an example.
Is that a gentleman's agreement, or is it a part of this contract?
No, it's a black and white. I'm talking
it's black
about.
And white. So the manager needs to take care, or the coach needs to take care of.
Most good coaches in Malaysia, they take care of the financial, because midway through the season you have so much complications.
So why does a player in Malaysia need an agent if the head coach is going to take care of his financials?
And that's why most of them don't in Malaysia. But if you mean the only time when I got an agent is when I went to India, and in Indonesia, in Malaysia I never had an agent because I always dealt with the head coach. But when I travel abroad, then I needed an agent because I don't know how to travel. I mean, I don't know how.
So can he trust the head coach? Because the head coach is going to get sacked. So can he trust the head coach?
And that is why you get the manager. In Malaysia, you got the manager who's a team manager who's not like England, and then of course you got the coach. So of course the manager's always there, and he's never going to get sacked. So it's got witnesses when you sign contracts.
Okay, I'm not going to ask is it a yes or no that we need agents, but just a quick one: how do we get this under control with the amount the agent makes and how they have ruined players' lives and careers?
Well, they brought financial fair play into football. I'm not sure it's worked. I'm not sure it's adhered to, but I think there does need to be some sort of scaling down as to what advisors can take in the form of a payment from a player or a club in any given transaction.
Well, firstly, I think it goes down to the payment. I think it was Raiola, isn't it? He took him 41 million of Pogba's transaction. That's a joke for me because he doesn't kick the ball. Pogba has to kick the ball. So that has to be governed for me. That's one.
Well, I'd simplify it as a club. If I'm the chairman owner of a club and I've got Zlatan in my office and I've got his agents, I'm saying this is the package we're giving you. And he says, well, it's not enough because my agent wants. Well, you pay your agent. If you want to pay him 41 million, you pay him.
Yeah.
You pay your agents. If you go outside, have a chat with him, and if you think you can get more money off me, you know. There's your money you asked for. I'm not paying him.
But where the problem comes for the club is
he'll go to the next club.
You know, the club really want to sign the player, and the player and his agent say, "Thanks, we're going somewhere else." Now the club have lost him.
Well, sometimes the club will have to be a bit.
I agree.
Stronger.
I agree.
Stronger in their way they run the club.
You know, the club used to be in charge. The player has become king. I don't think the player should be king anymore.
No, it should be switching back, and it should be some fair ground, some fair ground between player and club.
All right, thank you very much, gentlemen. We've got to leave it now and head off to a break. And when we return, we'll be talking about the director of football and some other questionable decisions that have been going around in the Premier League. But before that, the best goals from the Premier League.
Might be an opportunity now, and they have scored. Mbappe has turned it in from point-blank range. And there's one back. Dani Alves, now Gonzalo Higuain, who puts the ball back Alves' way. Here's Higuain, clinical.
Midfield players were much deeper. Benzema, Ronaldo, it's there to be hit! And when he hits it, you know what happens.
But Sally's on the move in there. Supersic gets two gloves to it. Dani Alves crashes the ball in. That will do it for Juventus once and for all.
Daddy, this is my boyfriend.
Stay strong, Phil. Stay strong.
Wonder Extra Presso, brewed from premium Arabica coffee beans for a stronger coffee taste.
Wonder Coffee.
This is a moment of brilliance. It really is.
Fantastic finish.
World class from the best on the planet.
It's a good ball in. It's gone.
I believe that I've washed these set of clothes, but time to get on with the game. Mutiara versus ISP. It is Group A. Mutiara, you're going to go first. 30 seconds on the clock. It starts now. Who was Arsenal's first ever Asian signing?
Rio Ferdinand.
Close, but no cigar. Who is Arsenal's most expensive signing?
Mesut Ozil.
Correct. What is the name of Manchester United's training ground?
Old Trafford.
Oh, no,
Go ahead.
bro.
Go ahead.
Who is the current assistant manager to Arsene Wenger?
Steve Bolt.
Correct. Name Arsenal's goal scorer against Bayern Munich in the Champions League round of 16, second leg this season. Quickly.
Alexis Sanchez.
Oh, very close. But unfortunately, wrong. It was Theo Walcott. Moving on. ISP. Are you ready? 30 seconds as well. The time starts now. In what year did Manchester United last win the Champions League?
2008.
Correct. What is Mark Hughes' nickname?
Skip that one.
Ooh, what treatment is Sir Alex Ferguson's well known for dishing out to underperforming players?
What?
What? No. He shouts at someone, it's always known. It's pass, yes, no? Pass. Which Manchester United player kung fu kicked a Crystal Palace fan in January 1995?
Eric Cantona.
Correct. Final question. What is the name of Manchester...
What was the question?
It is 2-2, I believe, so I'm going to allow you to be professionals here. First question. The highest scoring Premier League match, sir, how many goals scored?
10.
Choose an answer.
10.
You sure?
No, sorry, 11.
11, correct. Oh my God. Which club recorded the biggest home win in Premier League history?
Arsenal. Manchester United.
Choose an answer quickly.
Manchester United.
Correct. Don't say I'm not kind, yeah? How many players have won the Premier League Golden Boot more than once?
2. 3.
Wrong, both wrong. Right, question number 4. How many Americans have participated in the Premier League?
2.
Way off. Yes, sir. Sorry?
60.
Very close, but the answer was 40. Final question.
Wow.
Final question. Who is the Premier League's most expensive signing ever?
Paul Pogba.
You're absolutely right. Congratulations. The score is 3-4. Fortunately or unfortunately, ISP, you did win this round, but helped go through to the finals. Which means in life there will be another opportunity. Never stop trying. It has been an absolute pleasure to have both of y'all, or rather 4 of y'all in the studio. Keep chasing your dreams. I've heard from your mum that you would like to become a journalist. You just might get there. Thank you all for y'all. Back to you. That's right, it's back to me. Help International School sitting on top with a score of 12. Park City with 9, and of course Mutiara with 6, no wins to the name. That's from Group A, and those teachers will be really proud as long as their parents are happy as well with the results so far. Well, let's talk about the director of football in a bit, but before that, what's going on with regards to Malaysian football, Asian football? The question comes from Satish, and the question is the Asian qualifiers, North Korea versus Malaysia. It's a big topic right now. I hope you know what you're talking about. FAM, it's not in a good spot. They could get fined, kicked out of the AFC competitions if they don't go and play. Question marks with regards to sabotage. Stan, if you were still playing for the country, would you travel to North Korea?
Yes, if I was picked. It will be an amazing atmosphere at North Korea. It'll be an outstanding place to go and play. It's a challenge. It's an absolute challenge. It'd be intimidating even before you walk into the pitch. Communist country. But I look forward to it. Yes, I would go.
Player safety? Have you...
Well, can I ask a silly question? Yeah. Why is there a doubt about
because of
playing there?
Because of what happened recently. The half-brother...
It's a bit political, so we do apologise. We're not stating all the facts, but there was an incident between the two countries and it got a bit feisty. And right now, the football teams are going to be going...
Right, OK, so there wasn't meant to be a stupid question. I just needed to clarify.
Someone was murdered in Malaysia.
Okay.
So like I was trying to say, we're not going to go into details, but Stanley Bernard has to go into details because he watches a lot of CIS or CSI or whatever the show's called.
What's CIS?
But no, the question is, should they be going there to patch things up?
Well, I don't think it's a case of patching things up. For me, sport should sit outside of all politics.
Player safety?
Player safety? Well, I can go back to when I was playing for England, for example. This is in the 80s when there was all sorts of problems in Northern Ireland, and you know, bombs were a common thing. And we felt uncomfy about going there as an England national side to play in Belfast. And soon after the game, a big bomb went off very close to the stadium. But we felt it was actually our duty to go and play because, you know, sport has to remain above all the nonsense, if that's the right word to call it, that goes on in the world and politically.
Prior to whatever we just explained happened, a few Malaysians were detained. They were not allowed to leave North Korea for a certain number of days until they were allowed to leave. So that's why this has become... And the match was not supposed to be played now. It was supposed to be played then. So it's been postponed. So now FIFA has come out and said it's safe to play. So that's why I'm saying if I was a player, I'll still go because I don't think they would allow a team of Malaysia football national team to go to North Korea if they were not sure about it. As simple as that.
What was the official statement from the FAM?
The game will go on, as mentioned did, and it will be played in North Korea. It's as simple as that.
Steve, have you been in a situation like that?
It's similar to what Gary's saying with Northern Ireland, the conflicts that went on, politics, obviously.
What did your family think? What was going through their minds when you travelled to places like this?
You can't let this stop. I mean, I'm with Gary on this one as well, and it's an individual choice. If you want to pull out of a squad, it's a bit like what happened to Dortmund.
Yeah.
You know, he wanted to play the next day. If they're unfair, then you don't play.
I think I was reading the autobiography from Graham Lasso. He said that...
When he went to Israel with Chelsea.
Yeah, Tel Aviv. And he said that, you know, after him not
I've
going
travelled there with England as well to Tel Aviv when there was a lot of
decided not to
stuff
go,
going on.
and he was very close to the club officials and stuff, and that deteriorated as soon as he didn't want to go with the club, and he did not travel with the club due to his wife, I think it was pregnant or was giving birth, so he made a very family decision. And since then it deteriorated.
You have to fight. You have to go with it. And if the FIFA give you a guarantee that you're going to be safe, and we're trying our level best, because you can't go in the world now without something maybe happening.
Yeah,
So
let's be honest.
Yeah,
there have been plane crashes over the years, so we're not going to fly anymore.
Yep, agreed.
Yeah,
that's my stance.
So football to prevail.
Yeah, without doubt, football has to sit above sport.
Like
has to sit above everything
in life, you can't be living in fear.
You know who lives in fear? Managers, when it comes to director of football. Sorry, Steve, we've got to move on very, very quickly to the next topic. Here's Arsene Wenger talking about the director of football.
Director of football, I don't know what it means. Is it somebody who stands on the road and directs, play right and left? I don't understand. I never could understand what it means, director of football.
Because there's been talk about a restructuring of the club.
No, sorry, no.
There won't be anything like that.
Look, I'm not prepared to talk about that. I think I'm manager of Arsenal Football Club, and as long as I'm manager of Arsenal Football Club, I will decide what happens on the technical front, and that's it.
I think Steve will agree with him for the first time only. Here's a question from Legnesha who says, what is the role of the director of football? Here are the list of names currently that make a living from being exactly what I just called them. Not exactly household names, but the likes of Michael Edwards, Emiliano, as well as Chelsea. They get paid good money to do what again, Steve?
Probably the scouting network is more of the... You took a look at Steve Walsh there for Leicester. He's going on the back of what he did at Leicester.
Okay.
Getting the players in, finding players based on stats, based on tackles. Conte is the one he brought in, the famous name at the moment, based on tackles he won, the amount of ground he covered, and producing all that knowledge to a manager, I suppose. But I am with Arsene Wenger. He runs it fantastically well, and he has done for many, many years. Arsenal are not coming under pressure for what their infrastructure is all about and for not producing players, but because they're not. They're just coming under pressure now because of his stubbornness. That's all. It's a different...
It's hilarious, the fact that they even brought up, whoever brought it up, in front of Arsene Wenger. The fact that the problem is you either trust him as a manager for next season or you don't. The fix doesn't need to be added with another person. With Arsene Wenger, who's run the club since 1996 fantastically well. And we know Arsene Wenger has done so much financially for Arsenal Football Club as well, besides being a manager.
But getting back to the point, you know, what is the director of football? Well, I think he takes a different role at different clubs dependent upon what they want. But when the director of football first became fashionable, I think the idea was that he sat as a link between the playing aspect of the club and the board, which for me doesn't particularly work because, you know, where does his loyalties lie? My understanding now is that the director of football he sits at the top of the football decision-making process.
In terms of what,
for me,
transfers is the biggest thing.
Yes,
that's why they do
and
it.
for me, you know, so if I'm the head coach or the manager of the club, I ultimately need to be sat at the top of that. I don't need anybody above me, because if I say I want this player and I don't want that player, and somebody above me says I'm going to do it the other way round, then suddenly what I'm working with isn't what I want.
How often does it happen? This part of the world is very different. I mean, you get even presidents, club owners setting up players already before even they find the manager for the next season. There's already an amount of players who've been signed. How often does it happen in Premier League? Like the manager actually walk into a club where a few signings have been done before him, and this has happened before, but how often does it happen?
That happens in most managers. When you take over a club, they're not your players.
No, from early season, what I'm talking
Well, they're not
about.
your players. There's not many managers who go into a situation and getting told by a director of football that you're signing him, him and him in the next 3 months. The manager goes, no, I'm not. They're not my players. I don't want them. It doesn't happen in the Premier League, certainly. And that's where you have the conflict between the director of football and the manager, because the manager's in control and he should be in control.
And who gets the sack when the players don't gel with the manager?
Well, it should be the director of football. No, exactly. Liverpool sacked the director of football in recent times.
Was that the right decision?
Yes, it was, because the signings that he made were wrong.
But does it happen often enough?
It's only one man. You can't have blaming the director of football and then blaming the manager. There should be only one responsibility, and that is the manager, Arsene Wenger, if we're taking him as an example. And he hasn't done very much wrong, has he?
You never had, directors of football during your playing days, correct?
No.
And did the clubs were better off back then, or no? That's a question, sorry.
Financially, they're better off these days, but...
is that all?
When I went to Spurs, my first season at Spurs, Keith Birkinshaw was the manager, had been highly successful, had gained them promotion into the top flight, had won the FA Cup twice, and Tottenham went PLC, became a public limited company, and they decided that they wanted to have more of a say as to player contracts, who was signed, who wasn't signed. And at the end of my first season there, Keith Birkinshaw, as the manager of the club, resigned because the board wouldn't let him manage the football club. Simple as that. He wanted to be in charge of who he signed, he wanted to be in charge of the contract, he wanted to manage the football club.
Which is ideally right. Which is ideally right.
I don't know whether they should change the name director of football, but Peter Robinson was the secretary at Liverpool at the time, and fantastic man, and Kenny Dalglish in charge. Kenny Dalglish used to say to the secretary, Peter Robinson, these are the 5 players I want.
Go and get them.
Go and get them. Go and tell the board, or you, if that's your directive, these are my players I want, you go and get them. If you can only get 3 of them, that's fine. Come back. If you can't because the wages structure or because they don't want to come here, that's fine. But get me them 5, if you can. If not, I'll have 3 and then I'll look elsewhere. So then it's his job to go and say, OK, the manager at the top has told me this is what we need. It's now my job as director of football to make this happen. So I've got to make it happen. If I don't, I can't. I think that there might be somewhere there where there's a gap for people.
All right. Stan?
Well, it's different over here, you would say. I mean, there's unique... I mean, you get sometimes the fact that...
Well, we know that.
Yeah, sometimes you've already targeted a manager, you haven't acquired him. Okay. But by the time he reaches, he's already... The club's already signed 3 important foreigners, 3 important local players, and the ideology of the manager they're signing against the 6 players they've signed is not what he wants. But he has to make do with it. So it's very different. And who makes these signings? No one will be sure. Whether it's the owner, or whether the guy who's the manager, or the director of football. You never know.
Director of football, up there with aliens and flying cows, an undescribed entity. All right, we'll offer a break, and when we return, we'll be, you know, throwing a little party for all you Tottenham fans. It'll be their final game at White Hart Lane. That's why Gary is in. But as I mentioned a bit earlier ago, you know, I talked about the best goals from the Premier League. That was a lie. It was from the Champions League. These are the best goals from the Premier League. Enjoy.
Ledbetter behind, and Clayton, Luis, Fabregas, Matic!
Vardy with a lot of room to work in. Slimani's made a run for him, it's a decoy run. All Brighton, brilliantly finished. Leicester, the champions.
De Bruyne, Company! Lashes it home! By De Bruyne, oh, what a header! He's worth that ultimately.
Ozil, Sanchez, lovely turn. Alexis Sanchez still scores. Terrific goal. Just when the Gunners needed him most. Wonderful artistry and individual skill to lift Wenger off his seat and lift Arsenal's top four home.
Stay strong, bro. Stay strong.
Wonder Extra Presso, brewed from premium Arabica coffee beans for a stronger coffee taste.
Wonder Coffee.
Madrid, Spain's royal city of art, history, and culture, brings back a stroke of the magic. A fight on the red and clay of Caja Mágica. A new legend on the red clay will shine again. The ATP Masters 1000 Mutua Madrid Open 2017. Live on Astro SuperSport 2 and Astro Go.
Here we are at Stadium Santiago Bernabeu. 6 months ago, we found out that we were a winner, and guess what? Here we are right now. In 2 hours' time, this whole stadium will be filled like crazy fans like us. Are you ready? Dude, I can't wait for the game, man. Let's just enjoy this once in a lifetime experience, dude. Let's do this, man.
It's one of the best things to work on if you're a host. It's called Wishlist. It's even better if you're a fan, where we make your dreams come true. Check out the dates. 28th of May, 2 p.m., 7 p.m., 11:30 p.m. That's the show you can catch, where we made a sudden dream come true. Now, I have a dream to give Gary Stevens and Tottenham a fantastic farewell this coming weekend, because it is Tottenham taking on Manchester United, the final game at White Hart Lane. This man scored a penalty nearly 33 years ago in a European Cup final against Anderlecht, lifted the cup as well. Let's have a look at some of the greatest goals ever scored at White Hart Lane. Gary, you'll be happy with this, because it's against, guess whose team?
No, Stanley will be happy with it.
Naeem, of course, with one heck of a strike.
That one not from the halfway line.
That is very true.
What score did it finish up? I just want to see all his goals. I don't know what to...
Never mind, Steve. Come on, give Gary his time.
And it's Jurgen Klinsmann. Trademark. Fantastic. I love his celebration here as well, because he was renowned for a little bit of diving. Well played, Jurgen, the German.
What was he like in the dressing room? From what you heard
I couldn't understand him because I didn't speak German. No, I'm only joking. Talking about, here's another foreigner, Frenchman, David Ginola.
Yeah.
What a player he was in his prime, at his best.
This was in 99-2000 versus Middlesbrough, of course. How about this against Manchester United? 7 Carr with a cracker. I remember this game finishing 3-0, by the way, to the mighty Spurs. How about that?
He mishits that, surely, doesn't he?
I think Steve is waiting for maybe a goal for Liverpool against Tottenham. Not going to happen. Freddie Canute, do you remember this? Have it! Oh, shades of Stanley Bernard during his playing days.
Something about volleys, isn't there?
Yeah, it is.
They're quite spectacular. Yeah.
Steve, are you going to remain quiet throughout this entire...
I thought your thoughts is about Gary.
No, it's about you as well. How about this? Robbie Keane.
You just told me off for talking over... It's Gary's moment.
Yeah, it is. But you can just join and celebrate.
You want me to join in?
Yes, go ahead.
You're invited.
Where's Gaza in this?
Gaza?
We've got to see... I don't know where Gaza is in this. Because he's part of White Hart Lane, he is.
Danny Rose.
Will always be a part of...
debut. What's his debut?
Oh, what a goal.
Against Arsenal as well.
And he got paid for that. Goal bonus, yes.
Good one. Good one, Mr. McMahon. Yeah. Quite friendly, of course. If that was good, how about this from Luka Modric? Against guess whose team again?
Well, Stanley picked all these out.
but Steve, you could probably say, and what was the final score?
Yes, probably 4-1 Liverpool.
But that is a wonderful strike, isn't it, from Modric?
I remember it. Wonderful.
Do you remember this man, Gareth Bale? You used to play for your team, Gary? Yeah. What a strike.
Another left footer. Yeah, it is a great strike,
You go through it, the players who played at White Hart Lane are phenomenal. You know, Chris Waddle's there as well. We just mentioned Gazza's.
Yeah.
You know, Paul Allen, youngest player ever to play in the cup finals and stuff. It's like amazing what they've seen at that place.
Steve, this is one of your favourite goals of the season so far?
Well, one of all time at the Lane. I think sensational, given who it's against and the moment.
It's got no right to put it there.
No right, the angle against top-class opposition, obviously.
Against
that is up there with the best at the Lane, I think.
There aren't many people who've scored a winner for Spurs in a North London derby, you know.
You did.
There's not many people scored.
No. Why do you think I mentioned it?
There's not many people...
I'm trying to help you, Gary.
Yes,
you can work with him every day.
Yes, I did. There's not many people scored for Liverpool against Tottenham at White Hart Lane against Gary Stevens when he played as well.
To be fair, Macca, it was a great goal you scored.
He tried to man-mark me.
Yeah.
Did he? No, he tried to kick you.
He tried to kick me and man-mark me. It didn't happen. We won 2-0 in the end, so...
OK, let's move on to the questions. You can take this outside. The next question comes from Rish. It's, to talk about Rio Ferdinand and what his remarks were about English teams in the Champions League. Do you agree with it? He's mentioned that the standards have dropped, and if it continues to do so, I mean, where is English football going to be, Gary?
Well, I think the brand of football that is played in the English Premier League is exciting, it's passionate, it's 100 mile an hour, generally speaking. It's great entertainment, but it's not technically of the highest order. And I still believe that ultimately technically brilliant football will come out on top of entertaining football, passion, commitment.
Fight.
And that's why, in my opinion, English Premier League sides are not doing as well in the Champions League as I would hope they would do.
Or is it just down to the fact that these players from La Liga, from Italy, from Germany are better from the academy onwards? How many English world stars have you seen come out in the past 3 to 4 years?
Well, they get more of a chance, that's for sure. They get more of an opportunity to play at your Spain's and obviously Italy, because the level is not great.
Yeah.
Me, I'd rather have the Premier League all day long. All day long. What will Mourinho
So the Premier
argue
League above La Liga?
Yes.
Or Serie A?
Champions
or
League
Bundesliga?
Well? Yeah, but where does the Champions League fit in then?
Well, the Champions League is born out of all the games and
sure.
the intensity, as you said. The intensity of the Premier League is just wild.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's why all the managers are complaining there are too many games, there's too many fixtures, it's too physical, it's too this.
No winter break.
No, and until they solve that problem, I think you won't see, because they're saving themselves. I mean, Barcelona's and Real Madrid can save themselves for 70% at a time. And maybe that you might think I'm being disrespectful to Spanish football. I'm not, the La Liga. I'm just being truthful and honest, that it's not as physical and demanding as the Premier League is. Yeah. And that's a fact.
The difference from top to bottom in La Liga is considerably greater than
middle
that
to top,
in the Premier League in England.
Fair enough, all right? So where do we draw the line? The fact that every year, 4 teams, maybe 5 this year, of teams from English League will be playing in the Champions League. So where every year you've done this for the past 3 years, you're right. Even Pep Guardiola would come out and say English League is the toughest league because it demands a lot. So what are the solution for the English clubs to be doing better in the Champions League? We might be sitting here next year saying English teams have fallen out again in the Champions League level, saying technically the Italian teams are better, Spanish teams are always there and about. What are the English teams doing to fix it? Because we're giving the excuses, if it's not excuse, the facts. But what are they going to do about it?
Well, I'm not sure they can do too much because Steve has intimated, and I tend to agree with him, that because of the demands in the Premier League, it actually becomes more difficult for you to compete in the Champions League.
But with the money being spent, just say for a club like City, don't you think they can actually get 2 squads, all right? And we've seen world class. You've got De Bruyne, you've got Silva, both an architect. Don't you think that they can actually fundamentally look at the early season and say, you know what, we're going to build a squad for the Premier League and rightfully try and build a squad for the Champions League as well? Don't you think with the money being spent...
I don't think financially you can carry it, can you?
You can't, but you can't have 2 teams.
No, I'm just saying. I mean, if you've got a squad of 22 players, world-class players...
Well, you'd argue that they have. You'd argue that Manchester United have. Yeah. And you'd argue that Manchester United have. And they're nowhere near. They can't even qualify for Champions League.
Yeah, I mean, I'm talking as a global, as an English
So you could argue that they have, and they still can't qualify or struggling to qualify in the top 4 of the domestic competition because they're too busy moaning about the fixture list and too many games, too many competitions. And I don't know, you'll very rarely see a Ballon d'Or winner from the Premier League in the next 6, 7, 8 years. You haven't seen one as such. Yeah. And I don't think you will, because you've got to win the Champions League and maybe the World Cup and maybe the Euros, as well as winning the domestic competition.
You mentioned Champions League. Arvin has a question. Who will come out on top? BBC versus BBC. Bonucci, Bazzagli, Chiellini versus Bale if he starts. Benzema and Cristiano. That's a good one.
Well, do you mean Juventus or Real Madrid?
Yeah. Who's going to go for?
Well, me personally, I'm going to go for Juventus. I'm going to go for the defensive and the more calculated setup.
Okay.
And the more pragmatic setup. So I'm going to go Juventus.
Juventus.
I can't change. Beginning of the Champions League, I went either Barcelona or Juventus, and there's only Juventus left, so I stick with them.
There's a part of the question: Isco or Bale? Who should start?
Oh, well, Isco, they're different players. Totally different players. Isco's done sensational since he's
I think he played really well in the last game.
Well, he did do well. He's a different position. He's a bit of a floater and he's a bit of a Modric, if you like. But I'd have Bale.
OK, Bale.
I'll have Isco.
Isco?
Yeah, I tend to go with Isco. I think he just pulls them together a little bit more.
All the love, yeah? You mentioned love. Actually, I did. Xavier Chin says, what is the fuss with players embracing each other in the tunnel? Where's the love? Why isn't people appreciating this love in the tunnel?
Personally, when I used to play, if lined up in the tunnel with the opponents, I didn't even bother looking at them, to be honest with you, because I knew I had a physical battle with them out on the pitch. So I can't have a kiss with Rooney.
Look at Rooney.
And Carrick.
Yeah. There's a players who've won a lot for the club as well.
You can love someone after the game.
Yeah, exactly. I think the time when you acknowledge your mates who you maybe play international level with or you played at other clubs with, you acknowledge them after the game.
You're focused. And Gary made a good point, I mean, before the show, and it's right. Rugby, and Union especially, the haka and everything that goes around with New Zealand All Blacks, it's intimidating.
Yeah.
They do it for the reason, is to try and intimidate the opposition. And you don't want to be hugging and kissing everybody before the game.
No.
For me, it's not on.
Yeah.
You know, there's respect, there's focus. Do it. Rugby players have got it right. They focus after the game, they do whatever.
It's a war there. You're like a soldier. You're going to the pitch. You've got a job to do. Half-time changing jerseys, embarrassing. These things don't exist.
Yeah. Asking a player, can I swap shirts with you? And they're asking before the game.
Yeah. Absolutely disgusting.
They do, it happens.
I know, I've been watching all the time.
And can I have yours after the show, please?
Selangor? Anytime, if you can get me the one you want.
Yes.
It's OK, I've used deodorant. We'll offer a break, and when return, we'll have quick fire. These gentlemen will be in the hot seat. That's coming up next.
Kekuatan, kepantasan dan kekentalan bergabung dalam Kejohanan Rugby Asia 2017 Division 1 secara langsung di astroarena.hd.
Did you know there's much more you can do with your Astro PVR than just record programs? It lets you pick and watch on-demand entertainment instantly. Click Home, then go to Settings, choose Network, then Wi-Fi. Pick your Wi-Fi network and key in your password. Now you're connected, and downloading your favorite program is even easier. Go to Home and choose On Demand. Select the menu and pick the program you like. Press OK and watch instantly.
50 minutes on the clock. Where has the show gone to? But time for quick fire, or these questions, gentlemen, will be randomly pulled from the fans. Remember, thank you for sending in your questions, your remarks, and your nasty comments as well about Stan's hair. Moving on. First question is for Gary. It comes from Naveen, by the way. Which club should Pickford join next summer?
From Sunderland? Well, I think he's better than anything Man City have got at the moment, so Man City.
This is for Stan. It comes from Azrai. Your opinions on Wayne Rooney's future?
I think he should be at the club. I still think he's got another season him to offer off the bench. Doesn't matter.
Okay.
Great club player.
Steve, this comes from Abu Prasad. He says, can Benitez bring back the happy days at St. James's Park, or will they be another Borough, go straight back into the Championship? And when will Wenger say goodbye? If he will say goodbye after the FA Cup.
So I've got two questions.
There's three, actually.
There's three?
Yeah.
All right.
Because he loves you a lot.
Yeah, OK, so you give me three?
Yeah.
OK, let's start the first one. Benitez,
yeah.
He won't bring happy days because he's not that. He'll bring back success and a platform to build on. In my opinion, he's a great manager. They're a good team, or they're a good manager, and he'll get players in. Yes. Yeah. What's the next one?
Will they be the next Borough?
No, they won't. Next one.
Next one. Yeah. Your good friend, Wenger.
Yeah.
Should he stay or should he go?
Oh, that's...
You already know.
Come on, Steve.
He should go. I've told him, but listen, regardless of... I mean, he's been fantastic, and I keep saying it. I don't know how many times I can say it, but I do think the time is right for him to move aside, director of football.
Nicely done. Shazwan is for Gary. Which team's going to win the Championship playoff? Reading, Sheffield Wednesday, Huddersfield, Fulham?
I'm going to go for Huddersfield.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's a brave one because they've gone. They have a nightmare.
Yeah, no, but I'm going.
That's a brave one. Brave shout.
Well,
that's because his team's already in.
I think it just becomes a different tournament. I think it's lap of the gods now.
Steve, for yourself?
Well, Reading are the one with
Sheffield.
Pardon?
Sheffield Wednesday.
Oh, he's asking me.
Yeah. I said Steve. I did say Steve. Yes, Steve.
Well, he's Stephen or Stanley Stephen.
Yeah. Okay.
Anyway,
I forgot your name.
Anyway.
Yes, Steve.
Reading. Because I think they've got momentum. Stanley, you?
Yes, Stanley, go ahead.
No, I'll go Reading. Yeah.
OK, I hope your questions are answered there. Time for quick fire. Now, recently when Arsenal did beat Manchester United, there was chocolates passed on the bench, and that leads to the first question. What chocolate treat would you have on the bench if you were on the bench?
Oh, Bounty Bar. I love coconut.
Really?
Yeah.
You love coconuts, yeah? Moving on.
I'd have a bunch of coconuts. I would have a Snicker.
OK, Snicker, quicker.
Quicker Snicker.
Have a Kit Kat.
Have a break. OK, Oxlade-Chamberlain to Liverpool, yay or nay?
No.
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 That's not a bad shout.
I think he might go. Personally, I don't think it will happen, but he might.
I'm not setting this up. These are the questions. Yeah. Will Arsenal sneak back into the top four?
Stanley.
No.
You're no, OK?
I'm a no.
All right, question 4. What will your fee be for a goal bonus? It was a topic we spoke about earlier. If you did score a goal.
Well, it'd be an awful lot.
$1 million.
One big one.
All right. You? A chocolate bar, Kit Kat. OK. Yourself?
I'd give it back to the players.
Oh, my God. Where will Ross Barkley go if he leaves Everton? Ross Barkley, if he leaves Everton quickly.
He should go to a Tottenham of this world who play the right kind of football, of his brand of football. Okay. Maybe a Tottenham.
I think Arsenal.
Yeah. Okay. Spurs or Arsenal. Suits him.
OK, time for the EPL predictions. This is where the pundits predict the games that will make a difference for all our lives this coming weekend. Let's have a look at the fixtures, by the way. It'll pop up on the screen. So, gentlemen, what are you going to be going for?
Me, personally, a bit of a shock, you mean? I'm going to go for Leicester to win at Man City.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't look at me so
strange.
No, that's a big one.
It's a big call, yeah?
Yeah. Yourself?
I'm going to go... I don't think it's much of a shock, but I think Palace will turn Hull over at home and make sure they're safe. So it's not much of a shock, but I think it will happen.
As for you?
I think Swansea will survive. They'll beat Sunderland. And I expect, as Micah said, Palace to beat Hull City. So we will know the 3 teams relegated.
All right. Sunday's games are, of course, the big one is Tottenham, Manchester United, West Ham, Liverpool as well. Anything from that?
Well, people would have this down as West Ham, probably, where he just turned Tottenham over. It's a massive, massive game for Liverpool. It's their cup final, and everything rolled in. It's their season, not just... No, it's West Ham is their season. If they turn Middlesbrough over, the last game of the season, I'm convinced of that. But this is the season in one game, in 90 minutes.
OK.
They get the job done.
Fair enough.
I think West Ham will win.
Wow. Ooh.
tensions are flaring up. I think it was down to the goals.
I can see why. I can see why. Seriously.
Okay. Celebrity predictions in Tottenham.
Tottenham 3-0.
Wow.
Win.
Yourself?
Spurs 3-1.
3-1.
I've got to go for Manchester United to get beat.
Just a quick reminder that these are the scores right now. Steve McMahon's on 36, Adams in second, Bernard's in third, I'm in fourth, and Reem, who will be hosting the show next week, she currently sits in fifth. By the way, that's the job. Stan, you've come out of nowhere. You were bottom, down and out, but your hair, like your career, has just gone up.
It always does.
It always does.
Everything's up.
All right, gentlemen. All right, thank you very much. It's been an absolute pleasure. Gary, I will catch you as well as Steve on the coverage of the Premier League. Stan, it's been an absolute pleasure. And thank you for joining us. Till the very next time, enjoy your weekend. Sayonara.
This program is brought to you by Wonder Coffee. Tastes like just brewed.
E luceva alle stelle, e nolezzava la terra, l'ora è fuggita, e muoia di spera.
The ATP 1000 Internazionale BNL d'Italia. On Astro SuperSport 2 and Astro Go.
Initiate emergency evacuation.
Extreme circumstances.
We could die.
Ruthless enemies.
They're coming!
Dismay.
Everybody on the floor now!
Time to make your move and fight your way to stay alive every Saturday night.
I got this.
Here we go.
On the road to survival. Every Saturday. Get blown away on Fox Action Movies.
It's one thing to have a dream. Dreams are easy. Turning them into reality, that takes fight. It takes hitting the same shot thousands of times. It takes our mornings, late nights, and everything else we've got. Because if you stop, then dreams are all they'll ever be. And we've all come too far for that. The Web.com Tour, the path to the PGA Tour.
On Golf Channel.
In Galicia by a 1-0 in the first leg a week ago. Celta have scored in every away match they've played in this season's competition, but need to win this one in front of 2,500 of their travelling supporters. And as far as visiting teams go, winning here is something that only Borussia Dortmund 20 years ago have ever managed in 15 previous European semis at Old Trafford. Stage is almost set for the second leg of this UEFA Europa League semi-final. Marcus Rashford's goal 7 nights ago. Fine free kick is the difference coming into this one. 75,000 in Manchester make the difference and help United over the line. Contesting their first semi-final in this competition against the Celta de Vigo side, contesting their first ever semi-final in European competition. Still in pursuit of their first major honour in the club's history. To remain on course and book their place in Stockholm in 13 nights' time. Celta Vigo would have to rewrite the record books here, having won the first leg away from home. Manchester United have never let a position of strength such as that slip away in their European history. Mourinho last involved in this competition when it was the UEFA Cup back in 2003, when he led Porto to the silverware. It's the one trophy that Manchester United have never won, but it's the trophy that those Celta Vigo supporters are still dreaming about. Travelling in hope and a certain degree of expectation despite their disappointing display of their own admission in the first leg of this semi-final. It is all on the line tonight. Second leg of the semi in the UEFA Europa League. The season comes down to this for both of them. Both sides have made sacrifices in their recent domestic duties to keep their powder dry for this competition. There's some slip-ups for Manchester United against Swansea and Arsenal in a top four spot is unlikely now in terms of their pursuit to ensure they're not back in this competition next season. So they are at full strength, and Jose Mourinho fields the same side from the first leg, reversing the 8 changes that he made to the starting lineup at Arsenal on Sunday. Only Matteo Darmian, Ander Herrera and Henrik Mkhitaryan started out the weekend and again today. Sergio Romero continues in goal though, and features for the 11th time in this competition ahead of David De Gea. Marcus Rashford was the first leg match winner. Antonio Valencia skippers the side, with Wayne Rooney only on the substitutes bench despite appearing at the pre-match press conference yesterday. Turned out to be something of a red herring from Jose Mourinho. Video Hattiguet of Romania leads the officiating team for this one, and it's an unchanged Celta side from the first leg as well. Eduardo Berizzo made 9 changes to their team for their Liga outing on Sunday. 3-0 defeat at Malaga. He's reversed the lot. Sergio Alvarez, the goalkeeper, and Cabral, the only 2 to keep their places from the weekend. John Guidetti leading the line. The only injury absentee is the former Manchester United man Giuseppe Rossi with that long-term knee problem. Iago Aspas, once of Liverpool. That's 5 goals in this competition so far this season. Nobody left in it has more. It's the same bench for Celta Vigo as last week as well. The only change for Manchester United amongst the substitutes, the inclusion of Phil Jones in place of Ashley Young, who suffered a season-ending hamstring injury when appearing off the bench a week ago. So his goal was the difference in Vigo. 3 times they've won away from home in this competition already this season. Indeed, they've won by 2 goals to 0 of Celta Vigo on 3 of their last 4 away games. A repeat tonight would be enough. The odds are stacked against them as Manchester United get the action underway. There is still work for them to do to see this job through. And they're to reach the final of the competition that has come to define their season. Celta Vigo in their first ever European semi, still daring to dream, having already overturned a 1-0 first leg home defeat earlier in the knockout stages at Shakhtar Donetsk. And they do come here off the back of 5 straight defeats, their worst run of form for 3 years. Miscontrol by Paul Pogba on the touchline. One of the regulars rested at the weekend. He has featured in every game in the UEFA Europa League for Manchester United this season. More appearances in the red than anybody else in this competition. A couple of years, of course, since he was a UEFA Champions League finalist with Juventus. Got themselves back there again in his absence. Go back to 2011 for the last time that Manchester United contested a semi-final. That was also in the UEFA Champions League, where they are so desperate to be back next year. It was Daley Blind who's given it away. Careless early on from Blind, and it could lead to an issue here. Iago Aspas in behind. Guidetti in support, and this is Sisto who's let him down, but he may yet still make something of it. And Pablo Hernandez, nervy start in the first couple of minutes here for Manchester United. And in the end, Sergio Romero is able to cling on fairly comfortably, but it might have been anything but. It was Blint's ball, presented straight to Iago Aspas, that caused such consternation. All about the threat of Sisto, of course, from last season when he scored home and away for Midtjylland. That helped earn his move to Vigo in the first place. They kept him fairly quiet last week. Blint with an early admission of error. That's Redoya. Cabral, the Argentinian centre-back who scored the crucial extra-time goal in that aforementioned victory against Shakhtar Donetsk in the round of 32. Paul Pogba will play it forward, looking for Lingard. Mourinho opting for pace in attack again, with Lingard and Rashford restored to the starting 11. Rooney and Mata having begun at Arsenal at the weekend, both back on the bench today, as is Anthony Martial. Plenty of attacking options in reserve, should they be required at some stage. The mantra from Manchester United, certainly in the pre-match build-up, is that they will approach this second leg as if they have to win it. They won't be relying on that first leg lead. I've seen some defensive displays from them in